viewers, welcome to the Lifeline on Equa TV Africa. It's good to be back on the show. Today we will be discussing an interesting topic. However, this is the Lifeline and we discuss legal issues and other related matters. Today, the phone lines will be open at 6:30, so you can make your calls and contributions at that time. And then you can drop your comments on our Facebook page at Equa Television. So we will read your comments much later in the show. Today we'll be discussing the reoccurring attacks on our correctional services in our country. And we know that a lot has happened in the past year, and then in few months back, you know, terrorist attacks on various facilities. But today we are narrowing and focusing on the correctional services. In the past few months, the correctional services have been attacked, and today we are working with the news of the attack on the Kuje Correctional Service. We'll be discussing this topic with a colleague of mine in the studio, Barrister Stephen Ahile. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Vicky. Good evening, viewers.
Good evening. Just going straight ahead, what does the Nigerian Correctional Service do, and what is their role in the administration of justice?
Yeah, things are changing. Sometimes when they say correctional service, many people will not know. We know the Nigeria Prison Service. So if you say prison service, everybody knows.
Yeah.
The correctional service is a new invention. It's a sort of euphemistic expression to express what we have known over the years as prisons.
Okay.
So they keep in custody persons who are convicted of offenses. Some are convicted and sentenced to death. So between the time of their execution and between the time of their conviction and sentence and the time of execution, they are kept in the Correctional Services Center.
Okay.
There are also those who are sentenced to a term, a jail term. It may be months, it may be weeks, maybe months, maybe years. They are also kept there to serve their jail term. And then there are the last category is those who are awaiting trial, those who are suspected of having committed offenses or crimes that are charged or arraigned before the courts, and while the court is hearing the matter, they are remanded in prison custody, and as it is now in Correctional Service Center, so they are there, and it is the Correctional Service that take charge of those people and keep them. Normally, the people are taken there on a warrant. A judge will sign a warrant. It's normally signed by the judge. A judge will sign a warrant and give a direction in that warrant of what is to be done with the person involved. So it may be that the individual is to await his execution.
Okay.
It will be stated in the warrant, the direction will be given. It may be that it's to serve a jail term for a stated period of time. It will also be stated, and when that time comes, the person, the individual, will be released.
Okay.
And the last category, those who are awaiting trial, the judge will state the date that the correctional service will bring the person back to the court.
Okay.
And the court will hear the matter and continue, and it may continue sending the person back. When they take those individuals to the courts with the warrant, the court will write the next adjourned date on the back of the warrant.
Okay.
And on that day, the correctional service personnel will ensure that they take the individual to the court so that he stands his trial. So 3 categories of persons are kept by the correctional service. And those correctional service, as the name implies, are actually meant to correct the people. They equip people with skills, so they train. I remember I had a cousin who was convicted of theft and remanded, and then he came back with the skill of carpentry and bricklaying.
Okay.
So that was the work he was doing until he died, and they got that from the prison service as it then was, and now correctional service.
Okay.
And the way civil society organizations and development agencies are looking at the way some names are stigmatizing. That informs the change of name from the Nigeria Prison Service
to the Nigerian Correctional
Service.
Okay.
But whether they are correcting or not is a gist for another day.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, in the recent past, we know of the Oweri and the just prison attacks. And, well, they keep saying unknown gunmen and terrorists did that. And today it's the Kuje prison attack, I say correctional service attack. What do you consider as the problem? Why is this reoccurring?
Well, I think it is recurring because they don't seem to be a willpower or the determination on the part of government to forestall the recurrence of these things. It is as though government is overwhelmed. But of course, APC would not want to accept that. We are gradually grinding to the state, or already we have reached there, a state of a failed state. Because the primary responsibility of government is protection of lives and property. It was, I think, about a week ago or two that the Zamfara state government issued a press statement and gave direction to people, say, get weapons and defend yourself. The arrangement as we have now is that we have handed over our powers, our collective power, into the hands of some persons that we call government. So they have our power, they act on our behalf. And the first thing they have to do is to protect our lives and our property, because that's the most important thing. The most important thing that we all have is the life first. It is when the life is there that we think of other things.
Yes.
It's when the life is there that we think of property. That, okay, we have to live in a house, we have to drive cars, moving from one place to the other, we have to have food to eat and all. So government protects life first and then property. Now, we have a situation where governments of states are saying, protect yourselves. When T.Y. Danjuma said the military has failed, some people were insulting him. I discussed with a military officer and he was very angry, and he said T.Y. Danjuma has benefited from Nigeria more than any other person. I said, you are diverting. Whether he has benefited or not, has the military failed well? Have they done well? That is what he is talking about. They are not doing well. The military he served and left is not what we have today. And that is the situation of the military or the security forces that are supposed to protect lives and property. The correctional facility is a property of the government.
Yes.
If the government cannot protect that facility, that it has personnel who are serving there, it has convicted criminals, it has people awaiting trial in thousands, and then it could be attacked like that. Ordinarily, anybody should know, who at least is an authority should know, that a correctional facility is housing a lot of people. Some politicians who have a lot of enormous resources, material resources, that have been convicted for one crime or the other are there.
Yeah.
There are drug barons who are either accused or convicted are also there. They have enormous resources. So such a place should be well secured.
That's true.
But if that kind of place cannot be secured, then how do we expect that our individual homes
Will be
secured?
will be secured. That's true.
Because apart from these people that are held in custody, there are also personnel of the correctional services who should be important to the government. Oftentimes people say criminals in the prison or correctional facility, but it's not everybody that is there that is a criminal. By the way, our law, the Constitution, recognizes the presumption of innocence in section 36 of the Constitution. So you are presumed to be innocent until
you have been
proved guilty. It is only when your guilty is proved that the court will convict you and sentence you.
That's true.
And then at that time, you have become a convict. In fact, between the time of convict and sentence, you are no longer an accused. In fact, even that has changed now. They call defendant.
Okay.
It can sometimes be confusing. Before, when you say accused, everybody knows it's a criminal case.
Matter.
But now it is defendant, whether it's criminal or civil.
Okay.
But be that as it may, this is the situation that we found ourselves at. The failure of government to protect lives and property. And then it also goes with it that the people who are carrying out these attacks are criminals. So for them, they are going to benefit from their crime. So if they did in one place and they succeeded and no repercussion, they will now be emboldened and encouraged to carry out the same thing in another place. At least I know the correctional center, the Correctional Services Center in Jos very well. It is located sharing fence with, it is located beside DSS state headquarters, a sharing fence. The 8th Division Police Station is not far from there. The state command, the police state command headquarters is not far from there. I'm not a geographer, but I think the STF headquarters is not up to 2 kilometers from there. And these people came and were shooting and going by leg. Ordinarily, if there are security personnel anywhere and they hear gunshots,
they should react.
It should cause them to react, to find out what is happening there. And all those who are alive will now be at alert and say, what is it? We need to confront it. But this happened for a number of hours, unabated. It was on a Saturday. Then on Sunday, they were out harassing people, blocking roads, and caused a lot of hardship to innocent individuals, to innocent citizens. It is very unfortunate, and these people succeeded and probably freed the persons they needed to free, or they wanted to free, and they were emboldened. They went to another place and succeeded, and then now they feel, well, this is a good game. We can as well attempt another place, and they have gone now to the FCT. So it is a very sad thing, and now it becomes difficult to see or to agree that government is really working to do this thing. From the stories we read in history, it was not in contemplation that anybody, any security personnel will come and give report of failure. Even in the Bible days, when Jesus Christ arose from the dead, the soldiers became like dead men, and they came out and went away. Even death itself stood helplessly. Now, And at that time, they would not tolerate any failure
That's true.
from security personnel. So they had earlier said that, let us go and guard, give us soldiers to guard, so that this man will not come out. I mean, his disciples will not come and steal him
And
then
say
he rose as he had predicted.
Yes.
So guards were there, and the same guards now helplessly, they say that they became like dead men. They didn't know what happened and all. They say, no, don't say that. Let's take this money. Say that while you were sleeping, his disciples came and stole him. If he gets to the governor, we will speak for you. And that was what they did. So I think it is the same kind of thing that is playing out. That ordinarily, the president will say the Controller General of Correctional Services, you are suspended. How can this happen? Then he will, maybe a panel will be set up
to investigate
and get what was this failure that resulted to this. They have armed guard. What happened to your arms that this thing happened?
That's true.
In some places, they even have like in Jos, all the other. So if they were overwhelmed, they could call for reinforcement from their sister agencies.
Yeah.
And the sister agencies are not far.
That's true.
And these people did not, it was not said that they flew after they attacked. They came and attacked and went away.
And there was no report that any one of them was arrested, or there's in fact any arrest since that period.
Exactly.
And so that's what emboldens these people to go and do another attack. And now we see what happened at the Kuje prison. Yes, just to follow up from where you left, do you think that there is a collaboration among the security agencies? Because we're seeing that the DSS do not seem to say anything, the police, the army, and all the headquarters of all these agencies are in Abuja. And so how come this attack occurred and we're just hearing press statement that, oh, you know, some of the correctional services agents were killed, and this number of people were you know, broke out of prison and all of that? We are not hearing the fact that something was done to repel something, an attack was, you know, there was a defense of the facility until these people broke through. We're not hearing really anything.
Well, I mentioned it before that it seemed as though the personnel, the security forces are not doing what they should do. And it is the failure on their part that is resulting into this kind of situation, because ordinarily it will not just go with ease like that such a facility will be attacked, and it's such a facility that is known to be a target. It reminds me of what the government was saying the other time, that they have decimated Boko Haram. They are only attacking soft targets. I don't know whether this one too is a soft target, but it's hard to understand that anybody will think that a place where you have kept some hardened criminals, some very wealthy people who have the material resources and are now in incarceration, and then you think that is a soft target. So I don't know whether government will regard these places too as soft targets. But if they take them as soft targets, then it's unfortunate. It also goes down to show that there is failure on the part of government.
Thank you very much. We'll be going on a short break. We'll come back, and when we come back, we'll continue from where we stopped. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're welcome back to the Lifeline on Ekwa TV Africa. We've been discussing the topic, the reoccurrence of the attacks on the correctional services in our country. And we have looked at what the Nigerian Correctional Service does and what is the collaboration, whether there's been collaboration among the security agencies. Well, the phone lines will be open now, and so you can call in, making your comments and contributions to the show. And you can still drop your comments on our Facebook page at Ekwa Television. Barrister Healy, what are the implications now that we have these inmates, whether they are awaiting trial, whether they have been convicted, of a crime, returning back into the society even before they are released or before they are executed, because some might have been, convicted and awaiting, the penalty, the death penalty. But, what is the implication now that we have them back into the society with normal human beings who are said to be law-abiding, knowing that some were released, were broke out of jail in the Owerri jailbreak. Some were returned back into the society even at the Jos prison when that was Jos prison 2 was attacked. So we have a number of people who are supposed to be under custody now back into the society. What is the implication?
Well, the implication is that that of course we expect more crime, and we expect more crime in the society, and it will also show, it will also encourage others who have the mind of going into crime that they could stand the chance of coming out even when they have been arrested and kept in custody. They could stand the chance of coming out, and they could even plan that even if they are taken into custody, they could find a way of coming out. And it is not good for the society. But I must say that as these things are happening, it will show Nigerians the kind of government we have, and they will know what decision to take as election approaches.
Okay, I just wanted to say that, do you see from all this, from the trend that has been going on, will you say that the correctional services are porous and not security tight, because we've had, a series of them?
Well, whether they are porous or not, they have been made porous. It's either that they are porous or they have been made porous, or there's some connivance with insiders, which is what is obvious from the look of things. Ordinarily, such places should not be porous. But even if they are not porous, they have been made porous by the conduct of those who are in charge.
All right. Does it seem that steps have been taken to prevent this reoccurrence? Because we've not heard so much since the last incidents of the jailbreak, and now we're faced with this one.
No, there don't seem to be steps taken to prevent recurrence, because we are in a digital age where so much can be curtailed with ease. With such a facility, there is no reason why there shouldn't be cameras that we keep surveillance, or some sort of surveillance that we keep the place in check, that any such attack could be detected from afar and warded off. But it seems as though nothing really is working. And like I said earlier, this happened the first time, the second time, and it's happening the third time, even in the Federal Capital Territory of the country. So it shows that even the criminals, the culprits, know that nothing has been done. We did there, we succeeded, or those set of people did injust and succeeded. They did it there and succeeded, and so we can also go and do it and succeeded. No safeguards of ensuring that this does not occur again, so it could occur and occur again. They say once bitten, twice shy.
That's true.
For us, once, twice, and the third time.
That's true. Okay, before we continue, we'll just take a comment on our Facebook page from Guantim Lasur. You know, he said, this program is informative and educative. Kudos to Equa TV. Thank you very much, Guantim. Okay, what do you think is the way forward from here? What steps should be taken by the federal government to prevent another occurrence? Because like you said, once bitten, twice shy, but we're not shy on this matter. You know, we've been beaten severally. So what do you think are the steps that the federal government can take to ensure that we do not have a reoccurrence on this case?
The first thing is holding people accountable. That they will know that they cannot, that failure cannot be tolerated. And then secondly, provision of the relevant equipments, be they surveillance gadgets or arms and ammunition, whatever is needed has to be provided. It is unfortunate that almost everything, government doesn't seem to have money for it. Education, the money is not enough. They call for private partnership. Police, they call for private partnership. It's only political leaders, political office holders that they have never called for private partnership. Security, they say security is everybody's business. And sometimes it is almost like shifting
the responsibility on the citizens.
On the citizens who have already considered
their powers.
Their power to the government. So it's not something to play, to toy with. Funds should be provided. We cannot see where we have funds to pay senators in Nigeria higher than senators in developed countries who have higher GDP, and then we cannot provide funds for security. It's a contradiction, it's a paradox. So these things have to be provided, whether be they gadgets, be they arms and ammunition, whatever it is, so that surveillance is kept. As people are coming, they monitor and know who are coming. If they are carrying arms, they know the kind of persons that are coming and they know how to confront them, so that we do not degenerate into a lawless society. We are gradually moving to a position of anarchy. And you can see, if we get to a point of people having their weapons to defend themselves, look at where United States of America got to, and they are now trying to control the use of arms, the ownership of arms and all of that. I do not think we have to get to that kind of position. When people talk about allowing people to the use of arms, ownership and use of arms, others will say no, it is not right. But how do you think, if we continue on this path, people are coming to attack, they are armed, and then you are armless? They get to houses and pick people, kidnap people, and collect ransom and all. So you are just moving on like that. You could see people, ransoms are taken from people that the ransom is much more than what they have ever used in their lives, whether to build house or to buy car or whatever they give for ransom. So we are getting to a point of anarchy, of lawlessness, of survival of the fittest. And that will be the end of society. We should not allow the country to degenerate to that position. Already we are on the path.
Thank you very much. just a bit of a deviation, but still on security matters. We learned that the convoy of the president, was attacked. Will you say it is the lack of willpower of the government to really tackle the issue of security that is emboldening these terrorists to do and undo, whether in the daytime or in the nighttime?
Well, this is one of the things that is very, is one of the things that are very difficult to understand in Nigeria, that the convoy of the president, not a governor, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria is attacked. I see it more as connivance. I may be wrong, but I do not think that any person, any individual who values his life will go and attack the convoy of the president. But if it happens and the people went away to tell the story, then it will, just like the jailbreak we're talking about, it will encourage others to attempt it again. You remember when Ezazaki's people blocked the chief of army staff and they had to open fire on them and all of that. Some people say that if they were president and the chief of army staff will allow himself to be blocked by hoodlums, he will suspend him or even remove him from the position. That he will say the country is not safe. If the chief of army staff could be harassed by hoodlums like that.
True.
So if the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, the army, the navy, the air force, and then the other paramilitary, the DSS, he is the chief of, commander-in-chief of all of them. And then they all go with him in his convoy. Then hoodlums will come and attack him. Even if it means calling Air Force to take
the
surveillance of them and make sure they are all arrested, it will be done. But if it is not done, then it is, again, telling us that we are on the pathway to anarchy, to a situation where we cannot live in this country. Because imagine, not the governor of a state, not a police commissioner, president attacked. So what is the fate of ordinary citizens who are armless?
Thank you very much. This is the much we can take, but a lot of questions are still begging for answers. We'll continue to follow up on this story, and we hope that the federal government will sit up and get the things right, because we do not want another reoccurrence of such jailbreaks and attacks. See you next week, same time by 6 o'clock. We'll be back with another interesting topic. Thank you very much.